Hello and welcome. Tonight, we are not just telling a story, we are uncovering something that history tried to erase, quietly, carefully, and completely. A story about faith, power, silence, and what remains when everything else is taken away. Imagine a place far away from cities, a convent built from old stone, sitting alone on a hillside. Wind passes through empty corridors. Doors creak even when no one is there. Time feels slower here, as if the world outside does not fully reach this place. Inside, women kneel in prayer. 23 voices, soft, repeating, familiar, words that have become part of their lives more than breath itself. They do not speak loudly. They do not need to. Because in places like this, silence is also a language. But today, something is wrong. Not visible, not spoken, just felt. The air is heavier. The silence between prayers is longer. Even the candles seem to burn differently. Outside the convent, the world is shifting. Far beyond the hills, smoke rises. Not from nature, from movement, from armies that do not stop, from an empire that expands like a tide that has forgotten how to retreat. The Ottoman forces do not announce themselves. They do not need to. They simply arrive, and things change. Not always with destruction, sometimes with replacement, sometimes with silence. Inside the convent, Sister Eleni stands near the stone wall. She is the abbess. Her hands hold a silver crucifix. Old, worn, passed through generations of women who believe the same prayers. She does not shake, not because she is strong, but because she understands something the younger ones do not yet see, that some events do not arrive like storms, they arrive like inevitability. 17 years earlier, a great city fell, a city that had stood for over 1,000 years. Walls that were once believed to be eternal finally broke, not in a moment, but over time, under pressure, under change. When the conquerors entered that city, they did not only take control, they took symbols, they took language, they took memory. Churches became silent, icons were covered, bell towers stopped ringing, and slowly, something old disappeared, and something new replaced it, not always by force, sometimes by time itself. Because silence is powerful. Silence does not resist. Silence does not argue. Silence simply remains until nothing is left to remember. Across regions, the same pattern repeated. Small monasteries, remote convents, isolated communities that had no armies, no protection, no political value. First came warnings, then came presence, then came control, and finally, disappearance. Now, it is this convent's turn, a place not important on maps, a place too quiet to defend, too small to notice. Until now, the women inside are not fighters, they are not trained for war. They are healers, daughters, widows, survivors of lives already broken before they arrived here. Sister Magdalena is 19. She joined after losing her family. The convent became the only place where silence did not feel like danger. Sister Theodora is 70. She has seen empires rise and collapse. She no longer believes in permanence, only cycles, only change, only survival. And yet, nothing prepared them for what comes next. A sound begins far away, low, deep, like thunder that does not belong to the sky. Then closer, heavier, the ground itself begins to respond. The bell tower shakes. Dust falls from ancient stone. Birds leave all at once, without warning. Then impact. The structure is hit. Stone fractures, iron bends, and the bell, that has rung for generations, falls silent forever. Inside the courtyard, The women stop moving. Even breathing feels suspended. Then Sister Eleni begins to sing a hymn, soft at first, almost uncertain. Then another voice joins, and another, and another, until the courtyard is filled with sound, not panic, not fear, but prayer. Outside, the gates begin to break, and the world that existed beyond them finally enters. But what happens here will not remain as it is. It will be rewritten, edited, and slowly, almost completely erased. Because history does not keep everything, it chooses what survives. The gates fall, and the soldiers enter, not rushing, not screaming, but controlled, deliberate, like men following a process they have done before. They carry ink, ledgers, records, not swords, because this is not only conquest, this is documentation. The women are lined up, observed, measured, recorded, as if presence alone is something that can be archived. A translator speaks. His voice is tired, careful. He reads the decree: submission, protection, conversion, authority. But the meaning is simple: change or be removed. Sister Eleni steps forward. Her voice is steady. She says they have already given their lives to something greater than power, and nothing else remains to surrender. There is no rage in the response, only understanding, because this moment has happened before and will happen again. That night, they are locked inside the chapel. No food, no water, only silence. Outside, life continues. Inside, time dissolves. Some pray, some cry, some sit in stillness so deep it becomes another form of prayer. But nothing changes, because this is not a mistake. This is intention. On the second day, food is brought. Bread, water, simple, offered without words. They do not eat. On the third day, their bodies weaken, but their silence remains intact. The officer watches from a distance, not angry, not impatient, curious, because belief is something he has seen many times, and always, it bends differently. On the fourth day, the decision is made. They will leave. The road is long. Dust rises with every step. Heat presses down without mercy. Some fall behind. Some are carried. Some simply stop moving. But the road continues, because the road does not care who remains. By the time they reach the coast, fewer remain. But something inside them is no longer the same. Not broken, not erased, but changed. The sea is endless. The ship is waiting, not for comfort, for control. Chains are placed carefully, not violently, mechanically, as if this is normal. The journey begins. Days blur together. Time loses shape. At night, whispers of prayer continue, soft, fragile, but present, because even silence can become resistance. When they finally arrive at the great city, the horizon rises into stone and dome, a place that looks eternal, but never truly is. They are marched through crowded streets. No one stops, because history does not pause for individuals. They are taken downward, below the city, into corridors where light disappears, and sound changes, and air becomes heavy. And then they are gone, not in a moment, but gradually, like fading ink. Years later, a hidden chamber is discovered, small crosses carved into stone, not perfect, not artistic, human, and beneath them, a phrase. The light shines in the darkness. Empires fall, cities change, names disappear, but sometimes something small survives longer than everything else. And that is the truth of this story. Not that power wins, not that silence prevails, but that memory, refuses to fully disappear. And now, we return, back from the past, back from silence, back to the present moment where this story ends. If you listened until here, thank you, because stories like this only exist when someone chooses to hear them. This is where we leave the convent, the walls, the voices, the silence, but not the memory. That remains. Until next time, take care and goodbye.